Well, this is spectacular how technology works. I can't seem to get my notes, but that's perfectly fine. Let's see how this goes. Yes, we are a small team of postgraduate students from London College of Communication, and just last year we made our very own Escape the Room game in about 2.5 weeks. I wouldn't really go as far to say this is much of a feat, especially with this afternoon. We could very well have our own Escape the Room game after the game jam. But yes, I may actually need to move on my notes. It's not showing up on my screen, but that's fine. We decided on a theme, cyberpunk, that kind of informed our decisions by what resources we had at the time and what was available to us. We were designated effectively a broom closet, and they just said, go do your thing, go do game design. It was a 3x3 office space. I should show you a picture. It's awfully lucky. I'm a person of one of the stations in the room. It's a little bit dark on it. It's a little dark. It's for the mood. But yes, what we're here to talk about today, kind of more human-centric design sort of approach to creating an Escape the Room game, and how we went about doing this, very much leading up to the final showing that we had 3 days at the end of a 3-week period to, it's quite informal. We got the opportunity to use these last 3 days to kind of mess around with the formula and play test as live subjects were thrown into the room. To talk about our restrictions, feel free to choke on this one. Limitation is the pillar of creativity. Oh yes. We were given this small room. We are students, and budgeting is not anything we can really be so concerned about. No budgeting just completely out the window. You can actually see a photo of the space. Considerations in our design, of course. We were restricted to one room. There was an experience we were offered to have a go at. It's a World War II themed room just down the road from our campus. If you want to call it that, they had you moving into a second room, the second room very much being its own lockbox. Something we were also incredibly restricted by. We didn't have the crafting ability to really create our own means of hiding things away. We had briefcases, we had cabinets, and Chris, I should have actually gone through and introduced the team, but one of the 5 of us went and actually created his own box. I'll skip ahead a little bit just to show you that. We were messing around with new technology. We were messing around with Arduino, in this case, to have players press buttons in a sequence around a room to then open up the key to let them escape. That was the more advanced portion of the escape room experience. The theme choice was dictated by our environment. We were having ideas around how we would thematically create the room. For instance, one of the ideas, let's have the players be kidnapped and stuck in a basement. We're on the 3rd floor of a university campus. It wouldn't exactly work out particularly well, especially with onboarding, getting people up into the room. And it was limited by our weekly if anybody's heard of, I'm going to quickly dip into team management quickly. Has anybody heard of the program or app Twine? Yeah, it's a super fantastic tool for storytelling and like nodal-based flowcharts. We tried to discern what one thing was a tool and something was a puzzle and a solution to lead on to another. It was kind of very open-ended. In the first week, it was very much a case of what puzzles would you like to make and how can we squeeze these in, while trying to keep an eye on the original theming of cyberpunk. That went spectacularly well for maybe the first afternoon before we quickly dipped over to whiteboard technology. It's amazing, it's spectacular, isn't it? But yeah, one thing in the puzzles that we were slowly coming to realize is how constrained we were in terms of physicality. We didn't have access to so many ways of hiding things. So one thing we did is actually our main focal point of the room was a computer, and we had 3 monitors, and the players would solve puzzles in the room and using codes to unlock different apps on a made-up desktop that we created in Unity. One problem with this that we found, it was kind of spoken about earlier, reliance on technology, is that technology is unreliable. You can't necessarily guarantee that things will work on the day, things will crash, things will fall apart, things will just break. And especially with things so uncertain as AR, that was one idea I was tossing around, but it just wasn't feasible in the time that we had. But yeah, no, twice pretty great. Yeah, the computer was acting as a key focal point or station of interaction in the room. We had to worry about all the players huddling around this one spot, not really exploring the space and trying to be kind of free-flowing. People being designated tasks and trying to keep them as far apart as possible. In the twine side thing, we tried to push people away from each other as much as possible, ironically in a team-based game. But yeah, there's the room and the lockbox that we had to hiding the final key in a bit of a sordid state. But yes, engagement with the space, this was something I was personally experimenting with, actually getting people into our fiction, into our world that we were establishing. Slap me if you've heard this one before. There's a rogue hacker in an underground circle who has stolen some documents or something, and the players are going in to investigate their domain and retrieve some information. While they're locked in, their police records are wiped, and they are trespassing as civilians, and in half an hour they will be arrested. In terms of engagement, we wanted to actually have people already believe in the fiction before even entering the room. We wanted to have incredibly streamlined onboarding experience where they're actually guided into the world beforehand. We had a couple of guest speakers coming in, sharing their experience creating their own Escape the Room games. We had Minket, who created a game in London called the Oubliette, which was kind of like a Brazil 1984 kind of Escape the Room game where players would sit down and watch a propaganda film before being taken into a secretary's room and being interviewed before finally entering the game room. And then if you've heard of Escape the Room games, you've probably heard of Punch Drunk and their performative piece, Sleep No More, where audience members would literally interact with audience members to try and discern an underlying narrative. And experience is different every time, depending on where you are in a moment. But yeah, this was another experiment, as I was saying a minute ago. I was thinking, what if we actually drove the players to the location across the city? So using all my ability in motion design, I started whipping up some animations that we would project onto large TV screens either side of people sat in a car-like formation in chairs. Then we'll just slowly take you through like the actual onboarding process. Here's me dressed up as a cyber warrior with a Nerf gun appropriately. One thing we came across, playing dress up, yes. So we started playing with the idea of actually giving them things to wear. It's not too far a distance from them thinking that it's actually used for puzzles. It's quite easy for them to fall into the idea that I have been given something that I could easily be deemed as a tool, as something that I can go on, and once I enter the experience, this will become useful to me. It very much wasn't. These are plain goggles that we handed over to them, and they meant nothing to the experience whatsoever, so we had to strip down by the last day. But yeah, that's just in there, because it's cool. And then this was one of the first tests, or one of the first play sessions on the 3 days, and this is the final state of the whiteboard. This was about halfway through, and this is around about during its completion. Some advice on that. But yeah, talking about playtesting very quickly, and trying to generate awareness of points in a room where we need them to be, where we need the players to be looking at a particular time, and also in places we don't need them to look at. It's quite a tricky subject and a fantastic case study for human-centric design to really pick apart where awareness is being generated in a space and how we're leaning players in towards those spaces ourselves. For instance, we had a poster that was used as a solution. It was on the door that they used to enter the room, and nobody would turn around. And we had another solution to a puzzle hanging above them as L wire, electroluminescent wire on the ceiling. And nobody looked up. It's actually infuriating, but that was one of the things that popped up quite frequently during our time playing. I think we'll quickly wrap up in a second, but yeah, brute forcing, of course, is a problem for any game designer. I think more so in a physical sense. Padlocks of a 4-digit nature, you can kind of lean your design quite handily towards actually allowing for this. You could have your solution be a 3-digit code, and then they can help themselves to the 4th. But one puzzle we had in particular, this was prone to brute forcing in every playtest that we had. We have a CD case, and the players had to discern a word in the room, and that was the name of a band written on one of the CD cases there, to prop it up against a CD scanner that our AI will play a soundtrack through wireless headphones that they were given at the beginning of the game. It's a problem I don't think we could have really worked on, if only because we wanted the technology to work. So that's one of the affordances we couldn't really stray away from. One problem, very quickly, we had a bookshelf puzzle which involved navigating individual points and the junctions on the bookshelf, and it was quite difficult for the players to discern exactly what the information was that they needed in order to figure out how to actually navigate these points and figure out a word from within there. And in that word, it was cake. We had a destructible in the game. We had Nikki buy a bunch of stale muffins, and fits a slip of paper with a password on the inside, and hoping the idea that this cake's probably been here for a while, I won't eat this, and potentially the ending solution to the puzzle. That was a handy little experiment, and we'll probably never do it again. But in the end, across those 3 days, I think we had 3 sessions per day. We were varying between 3 to 4 players. One game we even had 6, I think maybe even 7, just really throwing people at it as much as possible. Everybody walked away incredibly positive and really enjoyed their time in the game. And I think we'd absolutely love to do it again sometime in the future, if at all possible. And if this is any means of encouraging academics, any lecturers in the room, that this is incredibly meaningful experience to your students, then I'd more than encourage it. It was a phenomenal few weeks that we were able to give this a go. Yes. Thank you very much for listening. If anybody has questions, let me know.